The city lights of Viridia blurred through the rain-streaked window of Iris Thorne's apartment, comforting, familiar haze. At 33, Iris had cultivated a reputation as one of the most sought-after architectural photographers in the bustling metropolis, her lens capturing the soulful geometry of skyscrapers and the quiet elegance of historic facades. Yet, even as she framed the dreams of others in polished steel and soaring glass, her own heart remained a meticulously curated, carefully guarded space. A soft tap at her studio door broke the reverie. Before we continue, tell us where in the world you are watching. Drop it in the comments below. And if you enjoy this story, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more powerful content like this. Leo, her assistant, poked his head in. Iris, there's someone here about the coastal project. Urgent. Iris looked up from the intricate blueprints of a new waterfront development she was reviewing. A woman in her late 40s, impeccably tailored in a dove gray power suit, and her leather attaché case radiated an aura of understated luxury and undeniable influence. Ms. Thorne, I'm Victoria Sterling, lead consultant for Horizon Holdings. We have a rather unique opportunity for you. Victoria's handshake was firm, a testament to her professional poise. A secluded cliffside estate overlooking the Azure coast. Clients are incredibly prominent. Iris gestured to the plush chair opposite her expansive drafting table. Please, have a seat. Leo mentioned the Azure coast. A dream commission for any photographer. Patricia slid a sleek, minimalist contract across the glass-top table. The budget is substantial. However, there are highly specific confidentiality requirements. Our clients value their privacy immensely. Iris scanned the document, her eyebrows lifting imperceptibly at the figure detailed under compensation. Was more than she typically earned in 6 months. This is quite generous. What exactly are the privacy requirements? No social media posts, no sharing of images without explicit written consent, and complete discretion regarding the identities of the estate owners until after the final unveiling. Victoria's smile was practiced, yet held a flicker of genuine warmth. The contract simply lists them as E and L. You'll receive full details 72 hours before the shoot. The artist in Iris was intrigued by the challenge of capturing such a secluded, high-profile location. Businesswoman in her was calculating how this single project could fully fund the expansion of her studio, and finally, allow her to invest in the drone technology she'd been eyeing. When is the shoot scheduled? 4 weeks from Saturday. The Azure Estate, approximately an hour north of the city. You'll need to arrive Friday for preliminary scouting and preparation shots. Iris found herself nodding, a familiar hum of professional anticipation building within her. The terms seem reasonable. What style are they looking for? Dramatic, expansive, yet intimately capturing the essence of the architecture within its natural, breathtaking environment. They specifically requested you after seeing your work featured in Urban Canvas magazine. Victoria opened her portfolio, revealing several glossy prints from Iris's recent commission. They admired your ability to capture authentic emotion in structure, the way you convey a story within the lines of a building. Authentic emotion. Iris almost allowed a cynical laugh to escape. She'd become an expert at recognizing the soul of a place, at imbuing inanimate objects with feeling, while keeping her own carefully constructed emotional walls intact. Ever since Alara. Require my standard deposit, Iris stated, reaching for a sleek stylus. Already arranged. Victoria produced a discreetly branded bank transfer slip. The remainder will be transferred upon completion. Do we have an agreement? Iris signed the contract, her elegant signature sealing what she assumed would be just another high-stakes, meticulously executed job. I look forward to collaborating with your client. After Victoria left, Leo peeked to the studio. That seemed intense. Big project, apparently. Iris filed a contract in her secure digital folder. Azure Coast. 3 hush-hush clients. A reclusive billionaire, perhaps? Leo offered. Ever the romantic, or just very private people, Iris replied, her voice carefully neutral. Iris returned to her computer, but found her gaze drifting past the screen, unfocused. Something about Victoria's demeanor had seemed almost guarded, as if she were holding back more than just name. That evening, Iris sat in her minimalist downtown lawn, a glass of aged whiskey in hand, gazing at the rain-slicked city below. She'd moved here 5 years ago after everything had fractured. After Alara, her phone vibrated with a text from her closest friend, Sasha. Tomorrow, you've been cloistering again. Iris managed a small, genuine smile. Sasha had been her anchor during the darkest period after dissolution of her relationship, never pressing for details, but always a comforting presence when Iris needed silent support. Big coastal project prep, rain check, always working. When's the last time you went on an actual date? Iris set her phone aside without replying. Dating felt like a relic from another era. She'd attempted it briefly about 2 years prior. A few awkward coffee meetings, one stilted dinner, but every potential connection felt hollow, utterly lacking the vibrant intensity of what she'd shared with Alara. The way they could talk for hours, dissecting art and philosophy and everything in between. The way Alara's passionate laughter could fill any space, no matter how grand or intimate. She shook her head, annoyed at her own persistent 5 years, and she still couldn't think about Alara without that familiar, insidious ache in her chest. The Azure Coast job would be good for her. A change of scenery, a substantial paycheck, and an opportunity to immerse herself completely in her craft. She pulled out her equipment list, methodically checking each item. 2 full-frame bodies, multiple prime lenses, backup batteries, high-capacity memory card. The ritual of preparation always grounded her, a precise counterpoint to the unpredictable tides of emotion. As she packed her gear, Iris found herself idly wondering about the mysterious E and L. What kind of vision would she be documenting? What architectural story would she capture that the clients would treasure for decades to come? She had no way of knowing that in 4 weeks, she would be face to face with the one person who could still make her hands tremble and her carefully constructed walls crumble. The rain continued its steady rhythm against her window, a melancholic soundtrack to a past that was about to collide with a present in the most unforeseen and devastating way imaginable. Iris's flight from Viridia to the Azure Coast was flawlessly smooth, the morning clouds reluctantly giving way to a brilliant cerulean sky as they descended toward the rugged shoreline. She'd spent the preceding week in a meticulous ballet of preparation, researching the Azure estate online, poring over sparse satellite images, planning detailed shot lists for various lighting conditions. The enigma surrounding her clients had only deepened when she received the final details exactly 72 hours prior. The main unveiling would coincide with sunset, a private gathering under the stars, approximately 40 distinguished guests, and still, only those 2 in E and L. The rental car, a sleek Obsidian electric vehicle, handled the winding coastal roads north of the city with silent grace. Iris had always held a particular fondness for this drive, the way the urban sprawl dissolved into dramatic cliffs, rolling hills, and the shimmering expanse of the ocean. She'd made this journey once before, years ago, when she and Alara had taken a spontaneous weekend escape to this very coastline. They had been 26 and 28 then, young, unburdened, and utterly convinced that forever stretched before them, boundless and bright. Iris deliberately pushed the memory away, focusing instead on the whispered directions from her GPS and the curated playlist she'd meticulously assembled for the journey. Ambient electronic music interspersed with minimalist classical pieces, sounds that wouldn't interfere with her mental calibration for the demanding shoot ahead. The Azure estate emerged around a sweeping bend in the road, a marvel of contemporary design seamlessly integrated into the natural environment, like something dreamt by the land itself. The main structure was a sprawling, low-slung edifice of glass, steel, and local stone, its sharp lines softened by terraced native gardens that cascaded down toward the crashing waves below. Iris pulled into the discreetly marked circular drive, her photographer's eye already calculating the perfect positioning for golden hour panorama. A young man in khaki shorts and a crisp linen shirt approached her car. "Ms. Thorne, I'm Ben, the site coordinator. Welcome to the Azure Estate." "Thank you, Ben. It's absolutely breathtaking here." Iris gathered her camera bag and an overnight case from the trunk. "I'd love to do a quick walkthrough before the final preparations begin." Of course, the client teams are just getting settled in the guest pavilions, and the owner, Ben, caught himself a flicker of apology in his eyes. "Sorry, the clients are reviewing the final details with Victoria." He gestured toward the main house. "Would you like to see the main gallery space first? That's where the unveiling will occur." Iris nodded, following Ben along a flagstone path edged with fragrant coastal herb. The main gallery space took her breath away. A soaring, minimalist chamber of glass and polished concrete, it offered a panoramic vista of the Pacific Ocean, framed by ancient cypress trees. The western wall was a seamless expanse of floor-to-ceiling glass, designed to capture the full glory of the sunset. "The light here at sunset will be extraordinary," Iris murmured, already visualizing the complex interplay of light and shadow, the way the ocean's palette would bleed into the interior. She pulled out her phone to take reference photos, noting the precise angle of the late afternoon sun. The client specifically requested this orientation, Ben. They wanted something that felt expansive, connected to the world, yet utterly private. As they walked back toward the main house, Iris caught sight of a small group on an upper terrace, glasses in hand, their laughter carrying on the warm afternoon breeze. The core design team, she assumed. From this distance, she could make out stylish architectural clothing in muted tones, but no individual faces. "Would you like to meet the clients now?" Ben asked. "They're in the study, finalizing the presentation materials with Victoria." Iris's stomach fluttered with the familiar pre-shoot nerve. Meeting high-profile clients for the first time was always a delicate negotiation. Establishing rapport, understanding their precise vision, making them comfortable with the intrusive presence of a camera, that would be perfect. They ascended a floating staircase of dark wood and glass, entering the cool, hushed sanctity of the study. The space was atmospheric, with walls lined with bespoke shelving and soft, recessed lighting that would be challenging but dramatically beautiful for photos. Iris could hear voices ahead, Victoria's calm, professional tones, and two women responding with questions and occasional soft laughter. One of the voices made Iris halt mid-step. It was impossible. Mind was playing tricks on her, influenced by being back on this coastline, by the evocative setting, by memories she'd believed were safely relegated to the past. But as they rounded the corner and the group came into view, Iris's carefully constructed world tilted on its axis. There, elegant in a flowing cream-colored silk dress, her dark hair longer than Iris remembered, but still catching the ambient light with the same subtle sheen, stood Elara Vance. She was holding a stylus, her head tilted in concentration as she listened to Victoria, and she was precisely as captivating as she'd been 5 years ago. Next to her stood a tall woman with short auburn hair and kind, intelligent eyes, her arm casually, possessively, draped around Elara's waist. The other client, the co-owner. Iris's camera bag slipped from her shoulder, hitting the polished concrete floor with a soft, resonant thud. Elara looked up at the sound, and their eyes met across the hushed study. The color drained from Elara's face. The stylus trembled in her hand, and for a fleeting moment, Iris thought it might fall and shatter on the pristine floor. Iris? Ilara's voice was barely a whisper, a ghost of a sound. Victoria continued explaining a minor detail on the plans, oblivious to the seismic emotional shift that had just occurred. Ben looked between Iris and Ilara with profound confusion. Iris's voice failed her. She cleared her throat, trying desperately to summon her professional composure, her practiced detachment. I'm Iris Thorne, your photographer. The auburn-haired woman looked between them with growing awareness, subtle tightening around her gentle eye. Do you two know each other? Ilara set down the stylus with painstaking precision. We used to. A long time ago. Used to. As if 4 years of loving each other, of building a shared future, of planning an entire life together, could be reduced to those two deceptively simple words. Iris forced herself to breathe, to remember her purpose here. I should let you finish your review. We can discuss the photography timeline later. She turned to leave, but Ilara's voice, now steadier, stopped her. Iris weighed against her better judgment. Iris turned back. Ilara had taken a tentative step forward, leaving her partner's side. I didn't know, Ilara said, her voice stronger now, but carrying an undertone Iris recognized, the one that meant she was battling to maintain a fragile control. Victoria handled all the arrangements. I had no idea you were our photographer. Neither did I. Iris's professional mask was crumbling, and she could feel the familiar insidious ache building in her chest. The contract just said E and L. Lena and Ilara, the auburn-haired woman said, extending her hand to Iris with a warm, genuine smile that made Iris's heart sink even further into the abyss of dread. I'm Lena Carmichael, and you're clearly the Iris that Ilara has mentioned. Iris shook Lena's hand, noting the delicate, architecturally inspired platinum ring Lena wore, a perfect complement to Ilara's refined aesthetic. She's mentioned me, only good things, Lena said, her kindness making everything infinitely worse. She said you were an incredible photographer. I can see why she was excited when Victoria said she booked you. Ilara shot Lena a look that Iris couldn't quite decipher, a complex mix of gratitude, warning, and something else entirely. I didn't know it was Iris when Victoria mentioned a book, and finally sensing the profound tension, quietly excused himself, muttering something about needing to check on the caterer. I should go, Iris said, hefting her camera bag back onto her shoulder. Let you finish your preparation. I'll be ready for the preliminary shoot at 5. She walked away before anyone could respond, her legs somehow carrying her up the floating staircase and back into the late afternoon sunlight. Her hands were shaking, and she felt a wave of nausea. 5 years of meticulously rebuilding her life, learning to thrive in solitude, of convincing herself she was over Ilara Vane. And now she was here, about to photograph Ilara's grand new life, a shared dream with someone else, someone who seemed genuinely lovely, somehow infinitely worse. Iris made it to her rental car before the tears finally came, hot and stinging against her cool composure. Iris remained in her rental car for 20 minutes, hands gripping the steering wheel, trying desperately to regain her composure. The late afternoon sun streamed through the windshield, intensifying the heat, and she could hear the distant melodic sounds of estate preparation, landscape artists directing placements, staff setting up ambient lighting, the low hum of activity that always preceded a major unveiling. She needed to be professional. This was her job, her livelihood, her reputation. Whatever deeply buried personal history existed between her and Ilara, she had to compartmentalize it, set it aside, and do what she'd been meticulously hired to do. But God, it hurt. Her phone buzzed with a text from South. How's the Azure Coast? Getting any killer shots of those cliffside views? Iris stared at the message, utterly unsure how to respond. How could she possibly explain that she was about to document her former lover's grand architectural project, a monument to a new life with someone else, in what looked like a perfect, idyllic setting. Just arrived. Beautiful venue, she typed back, which was true enough. She forced herself to exit the car and retrieve her equipment from the trunk. The familiar weight of her cameras was grounding a tangible anchor, reminding her of who she was now. Iris Thorne, professional architectural photographer, successful businesswoman, someone who had meticulously built a life independent of Alara Vance. The guest pavilion where she'd be staying was charming. A small, exquisitely designed stone and glass structure nestled into the hills, adorned with climbing bougainvillea, offering a sweeping view of the ocean. Iris unpacked methodically, hanging up her change of clothes for tomorrow's unveiling, charging her camera batteries, meticulously organizing her lenses and filters. The precise routine helped calm her racing heart, a small island of order in a sea of emotional turmoil. A soft knock at the pavilion door interrupted her preparations. Iris opened it to find Alara standing on the small private terrace, looking uncertain in a way that was achingly, devastatingly familiar. "Hi," Alara said softly, her voice a ghost of a whisper in the salty air. "Hi," Iris replied, her voice carefully neutral, betraying none of the seismic shifts happening within her. She didn't invite Alara in, but she didn't close the door either, leaving a fragile, unspoken boundary. "I wanted to apologize for the surprise," Alara began, twisting a delicate silver bracelet around her wrist. I genuinely didn't know Victoria had booked." "You don't need to apologize." Iris kept her voice carefully flat, a precise, measured cadence. "It's a job. I'm here to work." Alara winced almost imperceptibly at the carefully constructed coldness in Iris's tone. "I know this is awkward. If you want to leave, I'll make sure you're paid in full. I can call Victoria and I'm not leaving." The words came out sharper, more brittle than Iris intended. "I signed a contract. I honor my commitments." The implication hung heavy in the air between them, an invisible, stinging accusation. Unlike some people. Alara's face flushed, a delicate rose blooming high on her cheekbones, and Iris immediately regretted the barb. "I'm sorry," Iris said quickly, her voice softening just a fraction. "That was unprofessional." "No, I deserve that." Alara looked down at her hands, unconsciously tracing the lines on her palm, about how things ended between us. Iris took a small step back, widening the subtle distance between them. "Please, that was a long time ago. We're different people now." "Are we?" Alara looked up, and Iris saw a flash of the woman she'd once known, vulnerable, searching, achingly beautiful, a rare glimpse beneath the polished exterior. "Because standing here, looking at you, it doesn't feel like that long ago." Iris's carefully constructed resolve wavered for a perilous moment. Wanted to ask so many questions. Why Alara had left without explanation. Why she'd never returned Iris's desperate call. Whether she'd ever thought about the intricate, vibrant life they'd built together. But those questions belonged to a different version of herself. One who still believed in boundless future. "We're unveiling this project tomorrow," Iris said instead, redirecting the dangerous, "with someone who clearly admires you very much. That's what matters now." "Lena is wonderful," Alara said, a faint note of something Iris couldn't quite identify in her voice. "She's kind and brilliant and patient. Everything I thought I wanted, thought." Iris caught the past tense, a tiny spark of something perilous igniting within her, but didn't comment on it. "I should let you get back to your preparations," Iris said, forcing the words out. "I'll see you at the preliminary shoot." Alara nodded, but she didn't move, lingering on the threshold of Iris's carefully guarded space. "Iris, for what it's worth, I'm glad you're successful. Your work is beautiful. I followed your career." The admission hit Iris like a physical blow, a sudden, unexpected breach in her defenses. "You followed my career? I look you up sometimes," Alara said quietly, her gaze sweeping over Iris's. "I saw the urban canvas feature in your website. You've built something truly amazing. Iris didn't know what to say to that. The idea that Elara had been keeping track of her life, even peripherally, was both strangely comforting and utterly devastating. "I should go," Elara said finally, a faint flush returning to her cheek. "Lena is probably wondering where I am." She turned to leave, then paused, her hand hovering on the doorframe. "Thank you for staying, for being professional about this. I know it can't be easy." After Elara left, Iris closed the door and leaned against it, her heart thundering against her ribs. She felt like she was 18 again, overwhelmed by a torrent of emotion she couldn't control or understand. Her phone rang. Sasha's name, a beacon on the screen. Iris answered, grateful for the familiar distraction. "You sound weird. What's wrong?" She closed her eyes. Sasha knew her too well. "Nothing. Just project prep stress. I've heard you before major projects. This is different. What happened?" Iris found herself telling Sasha everything. The mysterious contract, the arrival at the estate, the gut-wrenching moment she'd seen Elara in the study. Sasha listened without interruption, occasionally making small sounds of sympathy or disbelief. "Jesus, Iris, what are the odds?" "Apparently higher than I thought." Iris sank into the pavilion's small armchair, the coolness of the linen against her skin a faint anchor. "I don't know if I can do this, Sasha." Documenting her new life, capturing her shared dream with someone else. "It feels like torture." "But you're going to do it anyway, right?" Sasha's voice was firm, imbued with the unyielding logic Iris often relied on. "Yes, because you're a professional." "Because I'm a professional," Iris agreed, the words tasting like "and because running away won't change anything. She's still chosen someone else, whether I'm here to photograph it or not." "You know," Sasha said carefully, her voice softer now, "maybe this is what you need. Closure. A chance to see that she's moved on, that what you had is really over." Iris wasn't sure she wanted closure. Closure meant accepting that Elara was truly lost to her, that the love they'd shared was just a finite chapter in both their lives, rather than the whole unfinished story. "I have to go," Iris said, forcing a brittle efficiency back into her voice. "Preliminary shoot starts in an hour. Call me tomorrow night, after it's over." "I will." Iris hung up and looked at herself in the pavilion's large minimalist mirror. She looked pale, shaken, but she could fix that with makeup. She could put on her professional armor, sleek black attire, comfortable yet stylish shoes, cameras around her neck, and become Iris Thorne, architectural photographer rather than Iris Thorne, woman with a perpetually aching heart. She had one more night to get through, and then tomorrow she would document the grand unveiling of the estate, co-owned by the woman she'd never stopped loving and someone else. Preliminary shoot would be starting soon, and Iris needed to be ready to capture every perfect angle of Elara's new happiness, even if it killed her. The late afternoon light at the Azure estate was everything Iris had hoped for. A luminous golden water filtering through the ancient cypress trees and casting dramatic, elongated shadows across the cliffside garden. She arrived early, using the time to meticulously scout angles and test her light meter readings. The familiar, precise routine of preparation helped steady her frayed nerves. A practiced choreography of calm. Guests began arriving for the preliminary tour. A select group of investors, architects, and close friends, all dressed in understated, elegant attire befitting the exclusive coastal setting. Iris recognized the type immediately. Successful, discerning professional, the kind of people who summited in exclusive retreats and had curated art collections. Elara's world had always been more polished, more rarefied than Iris's, though Elara had never made Iris feel less than during their time together. Iris. Victoria Sterling appeared at her elbow, impeccably dressed as always, her presence as sharp and tailored as her suit. "How are you settling in? Is the pavilion comfortable?" "Perfect. Thank you, Victoria." Iris adjusted her camera strap, the weight of the professional tool a grounding presence. "I've done a preliminary scout of the main gallery space. The light should be exceptional tomorrow. Wonderful. I should mention, the clients have requested minimal photography during the preliminary tour itself. Just a few candid shots, nothing formal, allowing guests to experience the space naturally. Iris nodded, though she wondered if this was Alara's request specifically. At Boundary, of course, I'll be discreet. The primary design team and key investors began gathering near the main gallery's entrance. Iris recognized Lena Carmichael immediately. She was wearing a flowing oyster-colored silk dress, auburn hair catching the golden light as she laughed warmly with one of the lead architects. She exuded an easy confidence, the kind of person who made others feel comfortable simply by her presence, radiating warmth and accessibility. Alara appeared a few minutes later, emerging from the main house, and Iris's breath hitched in her throat. She was wearing a simple, tailored white linen suit, not her full unveiling attire, but something that hinted at tomorrow's understated elegance. Her dark hair was pulled back in a sleek, low ponytail, and she moved with the same fluid grace Iris remembered, though there was a subtle tension in her shoulders that hadn't been there 5 years ago. The lead architect, a distinguished woman in her 50s, began to organize the group, pointing out key features of the estate. Iris hung back, using her telephoto lens to capture candid, evocative moments. Lena's mother, admiring a custom art installation, a prominent investor deep in conversation with a landscape designer, an assistant jotting notes with meticulous care. Alara, you'll lead the main tour from the East Wing, the architect was saying, her voice clear and authoritative. Take your time walking through the gallery. This is your vision. Iris watched through her viewfinder as Alara practiced the route she would take tomorrow. Even in this preliminary walkthrough, even in casual attire, she was radiant, her presence commanding. But Iris noticed something others might miss: the way Alara's eyes kept subtly scanning the periphery of the group, the almost imperceptible hesitation in her step, the slightly forced quality of her otherwise perfect smile. Exquisite, Lena said when Alara reached the grand central atrium designed to frame a towering sculpture. She took Alara's hand, and Iris captured the moment. Two women, partners in a grand venture, surrounded by associates and friends on the eve of a major professional triumph. It should have been a perfect tableau, a testament to shared success, but Iris's trained eye caught the nuanced details others overlooked. The way Alara's smile didn't quite reach her eyes, the faint stiffness in her posture when Lena squeezed her hand, a gesture of affection. The moment when Alara's gaze found Iris across the vast atrium and held it for just a beat too long, a silent electric connection that defied the spatial distance. Let's run through the key points of the presentation, the architect said, bringing the group's attention back. Just the structure. Save the real narrative for tomorrow. Iris lowered her camera, feeling like an unwelcome intruder into a private, professional drama. This was too intimate, too personal in a way that bled beyond professional boundaries. She busied herself checking her equipment, trying not to listen as Lena spoke about vision and collaboration and the future of sustainable design. When it was Alara's turn to speak, her voice was softer, more nuanced, harder to decipher. Iris found herself straining to catch the words despite herself, her professional detachment faltering. I promise to choose this path, Alara was saying, her voice a fragile thread. Every day, even when it's difficult, especially when it's difficult. The words hit Iris like a physical blow, an unexpected shard of memory. Choose you, the precise phrase Alara had used with her years ago when they talked about commitment, about what it meant to build a life, a shared artistic vision, together. Iris remembered lying in their shared bed in the tiny studio apartment near the university, Elara tracing patterns on her bare shoulder as she spoke about love being a choice, not just a feeling, about art being a deliberate daily decision. "I choose you," Elara had whispered then. "Every morning when I wake up, every night when I fall asleep, I choose her." Until she didn't. Iris forced herself to focus on the technical aspects of her job. Desperate act of mental triage. Tomorrow's unveiling would start at 6. Given her perfect golden hour light, she'd position herself to the left of the main entrance for the initial arrival, move to the center for the presentation, and capture the post-event celebration from an elevated platform. She'd done this hundreds of times. The preliminary tour wrapped up as the sun began its majestic descent, painting the sky in fiery hues of orange and violet. The group moved toward the main house for the informal rehearsal dinner, chattering excitedly about tomorrow's grand event. Iris was packing her equipment when she heard footsteps behind. She turned to find Lena approaching, 2 glasses of sparkling wine in her hands. "I thought you might like a drink," Lena said, offering one of the glasses. "It's been a long day of preparation." Iris accepted the wine, unsure of Lena's intentions, a cautious skepticism rising within her. The tour went smoothly. "It did?" Lena sipped her wine, studying Iris with intelligent, perceptive eyes. "Can I ask you something?" Iris's stomach tightened, a knot of apprehension. "Of course. How long were you and Elara together?" The directness of the question caught Iris entirely off guard. A sudden, brutal unearthing of a carefully buried past. 4 years, she answered honestly, her voice barely a whisper, "and it ended badly." It wasn't a question. Iris nodded, her gaze fixed on the shimmering horizon. "I thought so." Lena's voice was kind, imbued with a soft empathy, devoid of any accusation. It's this look sometimes when she thinks I'm not watching, like she's somewhere else entirely. I've always wondered, who put that look there? Iris didn't know how to respond. What did one say to the woman who was building a life with your former lover, especially when that woman was being unexpectedly, disarmingly kind about the situation? "She's lucky to have you," Iris said finally, the words feeling brittle, forced. "You seem like a wonderful person." "I am," Lena said with a small self-deprecating smile that seemed to hide a deeper sadness. "I'm stable and reliable and I make her laugh. I'm everything she says she wants." Says she wants? Again, Iris caught the careful, almost wistful phrasing. "But," Iris prompted despite herself, unable to resist the dangerous pull of the unspoken. Lena was quiet for a long moment, looking out over the vast expanse of the ocean as the last light faded from the sky, a profound melancholy settling over the scene. "But I'm not the person she dreams about." The admission hung heavy in the cooling air between them, fragile, shared secret. Iris felt a complex mix of emotions, a sudden surge of sympathy for Lena, profound confusion about why she was sharing this deeply personal revelation, and a dangerous, almost terrifying flutter of something that might have been a resurrected hope. "Lena, I'm not telling you this to hurt anyone," Lena said quickly, her voice laced with a genuine sincerity. "I truly admire Elara. I want her to be happy, and if building this life with me makes her happy, then I'm grateful for that. But if it doesn't," Lena met Iris's eyes, her gaze clear and unwavering in the deepening twilight. "Then I hope she figures that out before it's too late for both of us." She finished her wine and set the glass down on a nearby stone table, the clink echoing in the stillness. "I should get back to the dinner. Thank you for the conversation, Iris, and for being professional about all this. I know it can't be easy." After Lena left, Iris stood alone in the gathering darkness, her mind reeling, struggling to process the bewildering exchange. What had just happened? Was Lena having second thoughts about her partnership with Elara? Was she trying to tell Iris something specific, a coded message in the twilight? Or was Iris desperately reading too much into the words of a nervous partner who was simply being honest about the profound complexities of love and longing. Iris finished her wine and gathered her equipment, the familiar weight of her cameras, a phantom presence in her suddenly light hands. Tomorrow would bring answers, one way or another. Tomorrow, she would watch Ilara Vance unveil her grand new creation with Lena Carmichael. And then, perhaps, she could finally close this confounding chapter of her life. But as she walked back to her pavilion, Iris couldn't shake the unsettling feeling that the story was far, far from over. Iris awoke before dawn, her internal clock finally attuned to the demanding rhythms of a high-stakes architectural shoot. The pavilion was hushed, the first pearlescent light just beginning to filter through the sheer linen curtains, painting the minimalist space in soft, ethereal hues. She lay perfectly still for a moment, listening to the subtle sounds of the estate waking up, the distant rhythmic crash of waves against the cliffs, the faint hum of early morning preparations, a lone seagull's cry cutting through the stillness. Today was the day. In 12 hours, Ilara would officially unveil her life's new magnum opus with Lena, and Iris would have meticulously documented every exquisite detail of it. She rose and brewed coffee with a small, sleek machine in the pavilion's compact kitchen, then carried her mug to the tiny private terrace to watch the sunrise paint the vast expanse of the Pacific in shades of gold, rose, and a deepening sapphire. The morning was flawless. Clear skies, a gentle, salt-tinged breeze, the promise of absolutely ideal lighting conditions for the unveiling. Her phone buzzed with a text from Sasha. "Thinking of you today. You've got this." Iris smiled. Despite the tremor of nerves coiling in her stomach, Sasha always knew exactly what to say, a steadying voice in the storm. By 8 o'clock, Iris was dressed and ready. A sleek, charcoal gray wrap dress, comfortable yet elegant flats. Her dark hair pulled back in a neat, professional chignon. She'd learned long ago that a photographer on such a high-profile commission needed to be invisible, the meticulously planned machinery of the event. Today, that invisibility felt like an essential, unbreachable armor. The main house was already a hive of controlled activity. Florists were meticulously arranging towering botanical installations. Caterers were setting up the elaborate reception spaces, and Victoria Sterling was orchestrating every minute detail with military precision. Her voice a calm, authoritative presence. "Iris, perfect time," Victoria said, spotting her near the grand entrance, her tablet already in hand. "The client teams are getting ready in separate wings. Lena's group is in the East Wing, Ilara's. I thought you might want to start with some preliminary preparations." "Absolutely. Which would you prefer I start with?" Iris asked, her voice calm and steady, betraying none of her inner turmoil. Victoria consulted her clipboard. "Lena's party is having breakfast on the terrace in 30 minutes. Might be nice to capture that. Ilara's group is doing hair and makeup. Probably better to wait until later for those shots. More candid and less intrusive." Iris nodded, a wave of profound, unexpected relief washing over her. She wasn't ready to see Ilara yet. Wasn't sure she could maintain her professional composure in the intimate, highly charged setting of personal preparation. The East Wing terrace was bathed in the soft, nascent morning sunlight, and Lena's team of architects and designers were already gathered around a table laden with artisanal pastries, fresh fruit, and small crystal flutes of freshly squeezed juice. The mood was relaxed, vibrantly creative, exactly what Iris expected from a professional launch morning. Lena looked radiant in a silk robe, her hair being styled by a professional, laughing at something her lead engineer was explaining with animated gestures. Iris captured the candid moments, juices being poured, someone absently sketching an idea on a napkin, the easy intimacy of colleagues who had poured their lives